Hello, everybody. Welcome to the California Restaurant Show 2025 Exhibitor Education Webinar. I am Paul Pedrow. I am the Vice President of Sales here at Restaurant Events. Myself and my colleague Mack will be taking you through some interesting steps today to prepare for the show coming up August 3rd to the 5th at the Anaheim Convention Center. We are in Hall D. We're going to run through the exhibitor hub, all of the things that we have in there, everything from how to access it, registering your staff, submitting insurance, your company profile, sampling, shipping, material handling, and all of the other things that you might need to know as you get ready for this show, including some of the free marketing tools that we provide to everybody as part of just being an exhibitor with us at the California Restaurant Show. So without further ado, Mack Nishball is our Director of Operations here, and he's going to kick it off and sort of start off with a little bit of a rundown on how to utilize the Exhibitor Hub. We are going to stop at slide 14 to answer any questions. So what I would encourage you to do is if a question pops up while we're reviewing the first several slides here, please throw it into the chat for us. And as soon as we get to the end, we will go ahead and answer those questions. And again, we're going to do that at the end of slide 14, which is a review of sampling guidelines. And then again, before I get into the free marketing tools, which is about slide 22, where we will have reviewed everything that has to do with electrical, furnishings, shipping, material handling, and hand carry policies and maps to get into the venue. So without any more delay, I'll kick it over to Mack and let him get started.
Hey, everybody. So just as Paul said, my name is Mack Nishball. I'm the Director of Operations for the California Restaurant Show. I'm going to be able to answer any of the questions you guys have about exhibiting at the show and getting your materials there. And so hopefully this PowerPoint and presentation will help you guys with that process. To begin, we are going to look at the Exhibitor Hub. The Exhibitor Hub is your primary reference to find all the requirements, policies, and vendors for the California Restaurant Show. Access is limited to your company's assigned contacts from your contract. If you're trying to log in, but you don't see the Exhibitor Hub option in the navigation bar, it just means your login email that you're logging in with was not assigned to your company. So you can email me at exhibitorservices@therestaurantevents.com, and we can add you. When you initially click on the Exhibitor Hub, you'll be brought to this page. You'll then click to log in. If you have not logged in before, it'll prompt you to enter an email address, and then it'll prompt you for first-time login. Obviously, I've already done that. Once you log in, you'll be brought to the dashboard page, and you'll need to click on either the Exhibitor Hub option at the top or under the Exhibitor section here to navigate to your Exhibitor Hub.
And just to chime in on that, sorry to interrupt you, Mack. The main primary contact that you put on your contract when you signed up for the exhibit space, as well as the logistics contact, that is who will get an email with the instructions that Mack is referencing in order to log into this.
Mm-hmm. The Exhibitor Hub, when you're on it, will consist of 3 parts, which I've color-coded here. In red is your digital directory profile. That's what is going to be used in our digital directory app, which attendees will be able to use to find you on the show floor. The blue section is our featured links, which is our links to our partners and vendors for the show. These are where you'll order your materials, labor, utilities, and any staffing you may have. In yellow, there's a task list, and these are important tasks and form submissions that exhibitors should complete to properly present at the California Restaurant Show. In the event that you're managing multiple booths, there is an option at the top of the screen to allow you to switch organizations. Finally, you can see in the bottom right corner that there's an organization member list. So if you have a team member who can't access the Exhibitor Hub and they're not represented on this list, that is why. So you'll just let me know and we can add them, not a problem. When you arrive to your digital directory, and we can show you on the portal itself, you have a few options. The first is you can change your profile picture or cover photo. These are what show up in the digital app. You do that by clicking on the three dots in the top right-hand corner. You can add a photo, a cover photo, or a featured photo. Your featured photo is what appears in the dashboard. So I believe we have a few of our exhibitors that already have featured photos, so you can see what those look like. Once you've updated any photos, you'll want to navigate to your About section. By clicking Edit, you can add company details such as what you do, when you've been founded, your website, and we highly recommend that you expand these categories and select whichever product categories most closely align with your business. When you're done, you'll also want to let us know if you're part of the California Restaurant Association and if you're participating at the Pizza Tomorrow Pavilion. Please make sure you hit save at the end so that information is recorded. And again, that information is going to be used to provide attendees with information about your booth and how to find you on the show floor. Your task list are important and time-sensitive items, many of which need to be completed in order to properly and successfully present at the California Restaurant Show. You can check items off of this list as you go. Keep in mind that if you are not sampling any food or beverage, then you can disregard the forms and insurance related to sampling. And we're going to go through these right now. To begin from the tasks, you'll have your register exhibitor booth staff link, and we'll show you what that looks like here. You'll be brought to a login page. You'll select your company from the drop-down menu, and you'll enter the password that we've sent to you. Now, this password is included in your onboarding email. So there's a little excerpt of it down here, which shows where that would be located. It's highlighted yellow. You will enter that highlighted yellow into that field, and you'll be able to log in. Once you log in, you'll be presented with the landing page where you'll be able to add new booth staff. In addition, you can look at securing lead retrieval, which we'll cover in more detail in just a few slides. If you need additional badges for your staff members, please reach out to exhibitor services at therestaurantevents.com. We can add additional badges. You'll just let us know how many you need. This is for staff members only. This is not for guests or valued buyers. This is just for your exhibitor staff. Your second task is to order lead retrieval. The California Restaurant Show partners with Merits to provide lead retrieval service. You'll download the lead retrieval app on your phone and you'll scan QR codes that are printed on all attendee badges. After the show, Merits will email you the contact information of all of the attendees you've scanned. To see what that looks like, very similar. You'll put your company information in here, and you'll be able to order additional materials. Our recommendation, or the most common one you would order, would be the Express Leads app, which is the app that you download onto your personal device, and then you'll use that personal device to scan badges.
Since we have an easy question on that, I'll jump in right now. There is not a charge for additional booth staff. If you do use your full allotment that's in there, we try to set it at a high number. Just shoot us an email, either info@therestaurantevents.com, email your sales rep, or email Mack at exhibitor services at therestaurantevents.com, and we will add badges to that allotment for you. But no, there's no additional charge.
Mm-hmm. The next step in your task list is going to be hotel reservations with Connections Housing. A few points on this. Connections Housing is the only official housing partner of the California Restaurant Show. An unfortunate byproduct of the trade show industry at large is solicitation of exhibitors by unauthorized and or non-show sanctioned vendors that are trying to sell things like hotel rooms or attendee lists. The California Restaurant Show will never distribute attendee and exhibitor contact information. So if you have somebody reaching out to you saying that we will, or that they have the authorization to, that is not the case. Unless the vendor is on the exhibitor hub, they are not authorized by the California Restaurant Show to work with exhibitors. So please be in mind that if people are soliciting you for attendee lists, show data. If they're not on the Exhibitor Hub, they're not associated with us. Please do yourself a favor and do not engage with them. When you are getting your hotel, you'll navigate to this page, you'll select your exhibitor, and you can make a reservation from here. By using our Connections Housing Partner, you gain access to our room block and preferable rates for those rooms. And we definitely recommend you guys ordering and securing those early on. Your next step is going to be submit your exhibiting certificate of insurance. And this is a fairly important point, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this. All exhibitors at the California Restaurant Show are required to submit an exhibiting COI to be at the show. You would submit the insurance requirements to your insurance broker, and they would provide you with a certificate of liability insurance similar to this sample on the right. That would then be either uploaded directly to the Exhibitor Hub through your tasks list. They'll bring you to a page like this. You'll be able to give the file name, a description, and upload your file, and you'll hit enter, and that should all be taken care of. If for whatever reason you're having issues with this, you can just also send it directly to me. Again, exhibitorservices@therestaurantevents.com. We also work with Rain Protection Insurance. They're our insurance partner. They provide an all-inclusive term insurance for the event for $114. Just like if you were renting a vehicle and you didn't want to put the insurance on your policy, they provide a policy for you in lieu of using your own. Okay, and again, this is an insurance that everybody requires and is in addition to any sampling insurance if you are sampling food. And we'll get to that in a few slides. And that slide's there now. So these are our 2025 sampling regulations. So this is a big part. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to chime in in the chat. So types of samples allowed at the show are limited to products that are manufactured, processed, or distributed by your company. So if you are going to Costco and buying, packs of product to give away to guests and attendees, you're not able to do that. These have to be products that you yourselves are either manufacturing, processing, or distributing. The sample categories are food, non-alcoholic beverages, and alcohol. You are not permitted to do on-site concession sales of products. What does that mean? If your products are sold in small individual packaged portions, you cannot engage in retail operations on the show floor. They are only for sampling purposes. There's no, direct retail sales allowed on the show floor. And finally, a large point is frozen dairy and non-dairy desserts may not be produced or prepared on site. If you are an organization that has these products, you have to have them prepackaged in an approved clean facility, which is consistent with California law. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about that. The sample sizes are limited at the show, so you'll think of like Costco again. You are requested and required to provide very small bite-sized pieces. So the sample size limits are 2 ounces for a piece of food, 4 ounces for a non-alcoholic beverage, and then the alcohol beverages have different limits depending on the type of spirit they are. They also are limited by the number of tastings that you are allowed to provide someone per day, because we don't want people coming back multiple times to get free samples. General information for the show. So you have to submit a sampling application to Aramark if you are sampling at the show, and we'll click and see what that looks like in a moment. You'll also need to submit a sampling insurance form to Aramark with its own separate requirements. There's an example insurance form here, which you can review and see exactly what you need. And again, this is in addition to your standard exhibiting insurance. If you are sampling alcohol, you must hire an Aramark bartender to pour all samples on site. They have to be present at your booth and facilitate you sampling your food. This is a standard across many trade shows, and we are required to follow that here. You may not sample alcohol without hiring an Aramark bartender. Sampling may not occur before 11 a.m. on Sunday, August 3rd, 2025. And alcohol must be shipped to the Anaheim Convention Center Catering Department warehouse prior to the show. You may not bring it in to the Anaheim Convention Center by any other means, like hand carry or in a generic freight shipment. In the sampling application, there are the details to do that. There is a storage, delivery, and corkage fee that may apply. And again, you can find those details in the sampling application, which actually we can look at very quickly. So this is the sampling application. It has the food and beverage sampling terms, which you can review. There are the alcohol sampling terms, which you can review. There are shipping and storage guidelines, which you can review. Aramark does provide cold storage. This is amongst the few cold storage opportunities that we have, and we'll go into that in a little more detail in the coming slides. But if you need to store refrigerated food on site, this is one option for you to do so. Here are the details for that. In addition, if you need any materials, equipment, you can rent those from Aramark. And the pricing for staffing is also included in this document. When you fully reviewed it, you'll submit and fill out and then submit this document, and you're going to email it to acccatering@aramark.com. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to them, and you can reach out to me, and we're happy to address any of those questions you might have. Fire safety permit and cooking safety. So if you are using a cooking device that uses natural gas, propane or butane, if it's a freestanding deep fryer, if you're like hot oil, if you're using carbon dioxide and nitrogen for food or beverage dispensing, you have to submit a fire safety exhibitor permit. These requirements do not apply to microwave ovens, coffee pots, electric tea kettles, rice cookers, slow cookers, instant pots, electric air fryers, popcorn wagons, or sterno used with chafing dishes. The content here is also included on the fire safety exhibitor permit, but effectively you'll review this document, make sure that you're in compliance, you'll let them know what you're providing to the show, and they will approve that on a case-by-case basis. As long as you have UL certification on your device, it shouldn't be a problem. If you have NSF certification only, you can reach out to myself and we can get that approved on a case-by-case basis. Please keep in mind that if you do have a device that requires a fire marshal exhibitor permit, you will have to provide a fire extinguisher of the appropriate category on site. So you just need to have some kind of fire prevention tool with you in your booth. And finally, all exhibitors sampling food must have a hand washing station in their booth, off of the floor and ready for use. Exhibitors with pre-portioned or prepared samples accessible to attendees must have a sneeze guard. If your samples are out for attendees to take themselves, you have to have the sneeze guard. So again, you think of Costco, they will plate their samples and the guests can come up and take them off the plate. We just want to make sure that they are covered in some capacity. This form provides links to cost-effective options for both the sneeze guard as well as insulated hot water dispensers and a collapsible bucket to make things easy. Okay. If you do these things, you are not required to obtain a temporary health permit that is normally required from the Anaheim Department of Health. So please follow these instructions so that you do not have to apply for this permit. Okay. And again, if you have questions, please let me know. Here's our final sampling checklist. You can review this at your leisure. Again, you'll want to check off anything as you complete it. And if you have questions, please let me know. At this time, we're going to take a break. Are there any questions that people may or may not have about any of the things that we've covered so far?
All right. If we don't have any questions on that, I know sampling can get a little bit complicated for people. So just definitely no reason to not reach out to us if you need help. We're happy to jump on anything. And yes, we will absolutely share this presentation with everybody following the show. Following the webinar, as well as a recorded version of this webinar so that you can go back and reference it again.
Correct.
And I should also mention, and Mac, if maybe you want to jump over just to that Exhibitor Hub one more time. All of the things that we've been showing you, they are linked in this task list or as part of the featured links. So you can see that there. And then we did have a question about where you can update the company photos, which is a great question because it is this little 3-dot button on the top
a little
corner,
hard to see,
and it is sometimes difficult to find.
Yep.
So that's a good spot for that.
If you are following along with the PowerPoint, you'll see that I've also circled it in purple here as a reference in case it's hard to see. Okay. All right, without any other questions, we're going to continue. We're going to continue to the featured links section. So again, on the Exhibitor Hub, that would be represented right here. These are links to our vendor partners for the California Restaurant Show. You use these vendors listed to order, arrange, and schedule all products and services related to the show. All vendor websites require the creation of a separate login account to access pricing and place orders. So your Exhibitor Hub login is not the same for these. So you'll need to make sure that you create an account, similar to like making an Amazon account or any other online retailer. We're going to go through these one at a time just so you can see what the portals look like. And then hopefully if you have any questions, that'll give you a little bit more context for those. So we're going to start with Edlin. Edlin is your utility provider. You're going to be requested to create an account, enter your password, and you'll log in. If you have not yet started an order, you'll start a new order, and they'll request which show you're doing. We're obviously doing the California Restaurant Show. We are not an EAC, so we're going to say no. If you are an EAC, you'll select yes. We're going to do our booth number. You can provide the style of your booth. This is important for electrical placement and utility placement in the event that you have like very specific locations where utilities need to be located in your space. You enter your dimensions. And then you'll be provided with the options for power and utilities. So your electrical outlets are listed here. If you need 24-hour power for like a refrigerator, as an example, that's listed. Additional, power strips and cabling can be ordered. The electrical outlets are separate from the labor needed to install them. So please keep in mind that in addition to the cost of the electrical outlet, you should estimate for installation and disconnect. Generally speaking, for a very standard booth, the install time is 1 hour to install and about half an hour to disconnect. So I would use that as kind of a barometer of where your budget will land. And again, as you connect with Edlin directly, they can provide you more accurate pricing on that.
It's important to note too that labor is required when you need electrical drops put somewhere in the booth other than the back center.
Correct.
So if you have a 10 by 10 exhibit, they're going to naturally drop your outlet in the back center of the booth. You will only incur labor charges if you need that outlet moved to a different portion of the booth, more than one outlet dropped in different locations throughout the booth, and things like that. And we are going to jump the next company we're going to show you, Shepherd, is a company that'll be coming cover the carpet and flooring and things like that.
And just, I'm sorry, Paul, just to clarify, there is a charge for labor regardless of where it's dropped. Apologies for that. There is a charge for labor regardless of location.
Maybe we need to check into that.
Okay. In addition, for electrical specialty equipment, we have some international exhibitors. If you have electronics that require different voltage that are non-standard outlets, you'll need to order that material. And then finally, plumbing outlets, labor, and power can be ordered. So if you have to get, if you have a gas burner or you need a drain for your space, you can order that. Okay. Your next option is low equipment rental. We're going to get to Shepherd last because that's like the most all-encompassing vendor of ours. Low equipment rental, if you are serving food and you need a refrigerator, you can order that. That not, it's not doing it. Hold on. Here we go. You go to low, you'll log in. You'll be able to enter your company and then add whatever else you need. Okay. Generally speaking, this is for exhibitors that do not want to pay for cold storage. If you're going to rent a refrigerator, you're going to also need to make sure that you have power to power that refrigerator. And again, that would be ordered through Edlin. Our next vendor is going to be Smart City Internet. Wi-Fi is not available within the exhibit hall. It is only available in the lobbies of the Anaheim Convention Center. If you are an exhibitor whose product requires a stable internet connection, for example, if you're a point of sale system or a tech company, and dedicated internet is required to display your product effectively, I would recommend looking into ordering internet through Smart City Networks. If you're just checking emails or don't need, dedicated high capacity internet connection, we have a lot of exhibitors that have great success with mobile data and hotspots. Simply because the internet costs can balloon relatively quickly. So we just want to make sure that people are aware of that.
And just to be clear, if the electrical, I was right, Mac, if the electrical outlet is installed in the rear of the booth, then it's not something that requires special labor. But if it is dropped in any specific location, outside of the standard location, then it would require a labor.
Okay. Apologies for the miscommunication. Our fourth vendor is Aramark. They are our caterer, at the Anaheim Convention Center. Again, if you are sampling food and need staffing, they would be able to provide that. If you need, disposable plates and glassware for your samples, they can provide that. You would submit your order through this booth catering order form. I recommend completing this before July 14th. After July 14th, you may incur a late order surcharge. And that's the case with Aramark specifically. So just be aware of it. Again, this is primarily for people that are exhibiting and sampling alcohol, as they will be the ones that need to have that service. As you're building your booth, we do have some booth construction guidelines. The California Restaurant Show observes a line of sight style for all of its inline and peninsula booths, and a cubic content style for all of its island booths. If you don't know what that means, please feel free to reach out to me. It's just how we make sure that nobody is blocking this line of sight to any of their neighboring booths. So it's a way for us to make sure that everybody has proper visibility throughout the show and nobody feels like they're being obscured.
And just to mention, probably the biggest element of that is building tall structures in the front corners of an inline exhibit is generally going to be flagged. So you do not want, what you don't want to have happening is somebody's walking down the aisle, there's a bunch of 10 by 10 exhibits in a row, and somebody has something at the very front of their exhibit that is tall and solid and is blocking the sight line to all of the exhibits behind them when someone's walking down the aisle. So generally, that's the biggest thing to worry about. What you're looking at in the image that Mac has up here is an example showing where all of the maximum height limits are. So what you'll see is there are walls on this, this is sort of a fake exhibit showing you what it looks like to use the maximum height in all areas. The front 5 feet of the booth, you can only build to a maximum of 4 feet high. And again, that's just to prevent that sight line that Mac was talking about there.
Correct.
And additional internet is not required for lead capture.
Assuming you're using your own device. So if you are using your own mobile device, my assumption would be that you're using mobile data in some capacity to use that. One final thing about line of sight is we just want to make sure that if you do have banners or anything that's being put in your booth, you cannot have any of your advertising be visible from behind your booth. So whoever is your neighbor to your back, they should not be able to see any of your booth's advertising from their space. Okay. We're now going to move to Shepherd. Shepherd is our general services contractor. So they handle decor, carpet, our AV equipment if you need it. They're also going to manage any booth build and rigging labor. And finally, they manage all material and handling shipments to and from the show. This is the Shepherd Exhibitor Pro website. Similar to the other vendors that we have, you'll enter a username and password. You'll log in. When you log in, you'll be brought to this page. You'll click on Exhibitor Events. You'll click on your company and click to Next. If you are an EAC or a third party, there is another option that you'll have to click to here. Your EAC will register themselves, and it's the same process after that as a primary contact exhibitor. So if you're doing it yourself, it's the same process. They just want to make sure that any EACs are accounted for. EAC being exhibitor appointed contractor. This is the Exhibitor Pro landing page. There's a lot of very important information on here, so we're just going to kind of go through it very quickly. You can see kind of any upcoming events. We recommend, if you guys would like, definitely talk to Paul about Pizza Tomorrow Summit 2025 and the Florida Restaurant Show. We have milestones and dates. So as you go through this calendar, you can see, first day for warehouse deliveries, last day for warehouse deliveries, order deadline, price discount ordering deadlines, and then the initial days for when things can be delivered to the show. Each booth comes bare. You'll have an 8-foot high back wall drape with 3-foot sidewall drape, and you'll have a sign identifying your booth location. The Pizza Tomorrow Pavilion, they have a green, white, and red background drape. And finally, here are the move-in, move-out, and exhibit hours. Please review this. We'll go through it a little bit more as we continue this presentation, but just be aware that this is one location you can find that. Another piece of information that's helpful on this page is shipping addresses. If you're sending anything to the show advanced warehouse or direct to the Anaheim Convention Center, those addresses are located here.
Mac, before you go on, can you go back to that Shepherd portal and just show where things like carpet, tables, chairs can be ordered?
So along the top, you'll see event information. You'll see products, services, and resources. Event information is, fairly straightforward. I recommend looking at the quick facts and move out notice if you are sending anything to the show site, as well as shipping information. Products is where you're going to order decor. So if, for example, Shepherd does provide a budget booth package, which is an all-in-one booth package, which comes with a table, 2 chairs, 10-foot by 10-foot carpet, and a trash can at $977. If you need an additional table, that's also available to you. For furnishings, you can get tables, you can get drape, you can get chairs, you can get showcases and displays. If you need flooring, that's available here. You can get carpet or vinyl. Depending on the size of your booth, there are different options for how that carpet is charged. But generally speaking, excuse me, you will be able to order your materials here. I believe there's a 10 by 10 expo carpet option, which is available for you if you have just a 10 by 10 booth, and then everything else obviously goes up from there. If you need padding, that's also available. Okay. Finally, there's the services page, and this is where we're going to spend a little bit of time. we're going to first kind of go over material handling. There's a few sections to that. The first is personally owned vehicles. So if you are bringing materials to the show floor and you are driving yourself, that would qualify as a personally owned vehicle. Specifically, POVs are passenger automobiles, minivans, SUVs, and pickup trucks. Those will be allowed to drive to the designated unloading and loading area and move their materials from those vehicles into the show floor by hand carry. You may not have a trailer of any kind. No step van or box trucks like U-Hauls are not allowed, and full-size cargo utility vans are also not allowed. Those are considered commercial vehicles and therefore fall under the jurisdiction of the dock union. Exhibitors doing hand carry may not operate or utilize any type of power or mechanical equipment. They are restricted from using two-wheel or four-wheel hand carts or pallet jacks. You are allowed to hand carry your boxes. If you are at the venue and the Teamsters flag what you're bringing in, they have jurisdiction to redirect you to the loading dock, where you may be subject to a cart fee. This is if you're bringing a lot of things in that are not easily hand carried, but also are not necessarily big enough to be charged for material handling. So on a per pound basis, this is a flat rate. They'll load it up for you. Labor jurisdictions are important for all of these shows, so we just want to make sure that these are clear. In this PowerPoint, you can click on this link and it'll provide exact details for what the labor jurisdictions are. Effectively, you are allowed to work without tools on your booth and help install it if you have a 10 by 10 booth or smaller. Anything over 10 by 10 or exceeding 10 linear feet require union labor to assist with any booth builds. Anything that would require tools, or screwdrivers, even hand tools, that would require labor to be involved. Anything with an element of construction will require the use of union labor. And an exhibitor tip for everybody, and this goes for utilities as well. Our move-ins Friday, August 1st, Saturday, August 2nd. We recommend scheduling any labor on Friday, August 1st before 5 p.m. to avoid paying overtime labor rates. That will save you a fair amount of money if you can avoid that. There's a difference between shipping versus material handling, so I just want to clarify that. So shipping is the transportation of your materials from their origin, your warehouse or office, to either the event location or to the advanced warehouse. That can be provided by any carrier of your choice. And it's your responsibility to arrange and schedule that freight pickup and drop off. Material handling is the management of your freight once it's arrived either to the warehouse or the convention center. This is exclusively managed by Shepherd. This includes unloading your freight at the dock, bringing your things to your booth, removing and storing empty containers, returning those containers, loading materials back and forth to your space, as well as processing any cart service. Inbound freight can be either sent to the advanced warehouse or direct to the Anaheim Convention Center. The advanced warehouse opens on Monday, July 7th. The address for that is here. And then you can send your materials to the advanced warehouse up until Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. After that, you'll have to have it delivered directly to the Anaheim Convention Center. And the direct to event site, Anaheim Convention Center shipping address is located here. For your convenience, we provide shipping labels. So if you're able to print these out, you can stick them to your freight, and that'll be a very easy way to make sure that it gets delivered properly and on time. Okay. If you have outbound freight, so anything that you are not hand carrying out of the building, please be aware that you have to fill out a material handling authorization form, an MHA form, before material handling will pick your materials up from your booth. We've had exhibitors who, at the end of the show, wait around for Shepherd to like handle their materials, and usually the reason they're waiting is because they have not filled out this form. So please make sure if you are having any freight shipped out of the venue that you have this form filled out. If you have machinery and equipment, so this is large pieces of machinery and equipment that are not on tabletops. These are like, ovens or refrigerators or deep fryers, anything large commercial kitchen equipment. We provide a machinery/equipment material handling rate that benefits having the larger freight. Details can be found by clicking through this link and reviewing the machine rates brochure. There's pricing as well as all required information on there.
The idea behind the equipment and machinery rates, obviously exhibitors with, larger items such as an oven, large commercial kitchen appliances that they're, selling as their products sometimes, or even potentially shipping in just to be used at the show. Obviously, that's going to be a much higher material handling bill. This is a means to save you guys some money with Shepherd and with their material handling charges, so that you're not paying the full rate if you're sending a single item that weighs 500 plus pounds.
Yep. One thing I will keep in highlight is that the material handling rate for machinery and equipment only applies if your freight consists solely of machinery and equipment. So if you have a container that includes a large piece of equipment plus smaller items that would, decorate your booth, those need to be packed separately because those will be charged at a different rate. If you don't pack them separately, they'll be charged at the higher rate. So please make sure that you take that into an account. And again, that information is all available on the brochure on the PDF page. Do we have any questions at this time?
I think we're good, Mac.
Okay,
and I know you have schedule and then a
slides.
quick map to share with us as well. Help people figure out where they're going once they get there.
Sure thing. Tim, Dean, I'm going to respond. You do not need carpeting at the convention center. We're not requiring carpeting. You can just go bare concrete floor. My recommendation is having something as a floor cover is helpful. We have some exhibitors that have great success buying the puzzle piece kind of floor tiles that are advertised. Those are generally very cost effective and can be reused, especially if you're standing on the concrete for 8 hours a day for 3 days. You'll be happy by the end of the show that you had it. This is our on-site event schedule, just kind of as a this is available on the Shepherd website, but I'm recreating it here. So move-in day 1 is Friday, August 1st. Exhibitors can access the hall from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. if they need vendor labor. So anything after 6 p.m. Will either be for labor purposes will either be charged at overtime or will just simply be unavailable. You'll want to schedule it before that. You may work in the hall until 8 p.m., but after 6 p.m., once you exit the hall, you will not be able to re-enter. So please plan your move-in accordingly. The second day for move-in is Saturday, August 2nd. Same policies and rules apply. 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Labor scheduled for this day will incur overtime fees. So please make sure that you account for that if you're only available on August 2nd. August 3rd is show day 1. The show floor is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Exhibitors have access to the show floor starting at 8 a.m. in the event that they need to do a last-minute setup or preparation to make sure that their booth is ready for attendees. And that's going to be the case for each day of the show, where exhibitors have access till at 8 a.m. The final day of the show is August 5th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Once 4 p.m. hits is when you are allowed to start packing up. Please do not start packing up before 4 p.m. If you do so, you will be last in priority for any materials that need to be moved out of the venue by Shepherd. So just be aware of that. You'll also want to make sure that if you do have freight materials that you fill out your MHA form and any other freight materials that shipper provides to get your stuff back. You can move out from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and then the following day, August 6, 2025, move out is from 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. All materials must be out of the exhibit hall by 12 p.m. If you have anything left, especially if it is a large size, there is the possibility that you're going to incur a trash processing charge. So be aware that you just want to make sure all of your stuff is out by noon. If you have a freight provider, they need to be checked into the loading dock by 10 a.m. Great. Here's the ACC parking map. As Paul had mentioned, we are in Hall D, which is located here. Exhibitors who are doing hand carry and POV, they'll be able to use car park 4 and 5, which are off of West Street. Hand carry will use the convention center entrance, which is south of Hall D. There's a long pedestrian corridor that you'll walk through, and then you'll be able to bring your materials into the show floor. If you require a loading dock, or if you're being asked to comply with cart service, you'll pull into car park 5, where there's a ramp to the loading dock behind Hall D. And in fact, you can see those spaces located right here. Great. And now we're going to conclude with marketing tools. So I'm going to let Paul take it from here.
Thank you, Mac. Yeah, don't see any other questions about logistics and operations. But again, the email address to reach out to if you do want to speak about something specifically, exhibitor services at therestaurantevents.com. Mac and the rest of our team are monitoring that, so we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Our sales reps are also pretty knowledgeable on that stuff, on this stuff. So if you have questions, you can always go right to them as well. But without further ado, I'll get into some of the more fun stuff here. There are some marketing tools available to you as an exhibitor to sort of help you have a better show, help create some more exposure at the event. The first one is a pretty cool program that we run called the Customer Invite Program. I'm going to put an email address actually in the chat as I discuss this, just info@therestaurantevents.com. And this is how you get started on any of these things that I'm about to discuss. So the customer invitation program. As an exhibitor, you have the opportunity to provide your sales team with a promo code, as well as a co-branded ticket graphic that will enable your sales team to invite customers or prospects that they're speaking to attend the California Restaurant Show free of charge. So essentially, you are allowed to give out comp badges to people that you might be doing business with. If you'd like them to come meet you at the show, it's kind of a nice way to provide some hospitality. And in addition to that, obviously, having more buyers on the show floor helps everybody. And so we will actually return the favor by providing you with a $25 credit per visitor that uses your promo code and attends the show. So that works towards your booth for 2026, and you can earn up to $2,000 in booth credit through the customer invite program. So it's a nice little perk. I definitely recommend it, especially if you have a salesperson that's in a conversation with a potential client in the area who's close by. Or even if you just want to maybe get a prospect to reply to you that hasn't been paying much attention to you so far. So it's a great little tool to use in a number of different ways. And the other really cool thing that we do in addition to the customer invite program is that we love to highlight when exhibitors on the show floor are doing show promotions and running specials for doing business with them at the show. So that's kind of falls into a couple of different categories here. If you have a legitimate show special where it is, hey, you're going to get a discount if you come see our booth on a particular product, or however that might look, we love to market that in advance of the show, and we would love for you to send those to that email address that I just put in the chat. And that way we can include it in some of our attendee marketing and help bring people in, even that maybe aren't even signed up to attend yet. So we will put it in our e-blasts, and we'll do some socials around it. So we really encourage you to send us that information. Also, I would say the same thing applies to new and interesting product launches. If you're at the show and you have something new coming out, we'd love to hear about it. We'd love to put it in front of our attendee database. And if you send this stuff to us, we're not gonna, there's no additional charge for any of this. This is all included. So we really encourage you to take advantage of it. And last but not least is our Operator's Choice Award. This is a pretty cool thing that we do on site. We have a dedicated 20 by 30 booth for actually displaying nominee products for the Operator's Choice Award. And we have a whole voting program that goes along with it. So with this, the way that you would participate is a little bit different than just sending the information to the email address. There is some emails that go out where we do a call for nominees, and we're asking people to tell us a little bit about an innovative product or solution that they're offering on site. And what we do is we compile all of those submissions and we present them to our advisory board that includes some of our speakers, content creators, and some of the key attendees that help us build the show. That group of people will vote. That group of people will vote on all of the submissions. And what we will do is we will nominate, usually it's if we can get 10, we'd love to fit 10 in there. It does sort of depend somewhat on how large the actual displays are. But the long and short of it is, and obviously the operators that we're talking to have to deem it worthy of being nominated. But in the event that your product is nominated for the Operator's Choice Award, you're provided with a 6-foot tabletop display in the Operator's Choice area on the show floor. We have a ballot on the back of every badge that we give to attendees, and the nominated products displayed in the exhibit in the Operator's Choice area all have ballot boxes next to them. So every attendee, while they're looking at the displays in this area and reading about the product, they have the opportunity to tear something off the back of their badge and submit their vote for that product. The winner is announced on one of our stages at the end of the show and is given a fancy trophy. And it's a nice thing to be able to say, that this is something that your product or solution won. The one thing that is important to note about the on-site display is that it is a fairly simple tabletop. We have had products as large as massive walk-in cooler technologies be nominated. In that scenario, the company put a cool little TV display on the tabletop and had it sort of do a walkthrough of the cooler. We've had companies with things that don't fit on tabletops do just the normal poster style with the little pop-up glass thing as well. And I will say, from what I've seen, people really take their time to sort of read and evaluate those products. So, keep in mind that's part of it when you submit it. It's not the biggest area, but it is a pretty significant show feature, and is definitely worth it. If you have something new and innovative to get it out there. So, I just wanted to highlight those 3 things. I think they're really great tools to get the most out of the show.
To build on what Paul is saying, our Operator's Choice Award area is located at the very front of the show. So as people are waiting before the show opens for the day, they'll still be able to see your product, and you'll get a front and center attendee view of everything.
It's a good point. And being our VP of sales, I would be remiss if I didn't also say that we do have a number of really great sponsorships that can help you gain extra exposure on top of this. One of the newest ones that I highly recommend people take a serious look at, because I have sold lots of media packages in my day, and I have yet to see anything quite as valuable as this all wrapped up in one package. That is our Chef's Table package. We have partnered with the Walk and Talk podcast, which is the #1 food podcast on Apple charts, all but 1 week out of the year last year. They have about 4 million downloads total and a huge following of their own, in addition to us and our show following. So it's a way to reach a whole separate audience and the show audience. And essentially, what that package includes is an interview in the Walk and Talk booth or in your booth with one of your representatives to talk about your company, talk about the product. That interview is professionally edited, and it also includes still shot photography of the interview and of your products. What the Walk and Talk media team does is they take that edited interview, they turn it into an audio commercial for one of their podcast episodes. They push it out on their socials, and they push it out through some of their e-blasts to their database. We also do a giant post-show email featuring all of these video interviews, and then we host them year-round on CaliforniaRestaurantShow.com as part of our post-show recap. In addition to that, we post them on our socials as well. So you're getting a professionally edited video, still shot photography, a podcast commercial, social posts, and e-blasts from both entities, Walk and Talk Media and the California Restaurant Show, all for $1,995. That's the one thing that I would highlight first and foremost. The second sponsorship that I would highlight is our house special package. This is a combination of a post-show e-blast and lead retrieval. So there's a lot of times you're paying $400 or $500 for lead retrieval. This is a way to sort of package that with a post-show e-blast, save a little bit of money. And what we will do is we will send an email out to everybody that you did not scan that attended the show as sort of a sorry we missed you at the show. If you'd like to learn more about our product, please contact us here style email. And we have found that the follow-up after these things is extremely important. It really helps turn this event into positive ROI for exhibitors. And so I would recommend, not only these free marketing tools, but maybe taking a look at those two packages as well. And I don't see any other questions, but I did want to open it up and give everybody some time to throw something in the chat. If you do have anything else you'd like me to touch on, we have about 3 minutes left here. So now is a good time to ask. I don't see anything. But once again, I am Paul at therestaurantevents.com. Please feel free to email me and ask me any questions you have. Mack is the man behind our exhibitor services at therestaurantevents.com email. Either one of us can help you with anything. All of our sales reps also very knowledgeable about this stuff and can help you directly. And we really encourage you to reach out to us before the show. If anything comes up, there are no stupid questions. There's a lot that goes into this. There's shipping, there's unions, there's sampling guidelines. And so we certainly understand the need to maybe get some extra direction. And we encourage you to do it in advance. Usually we can save you some money, help you be better prepared, and just make sure that there's no surprises on site. So
actually, and to that point, on the task list, you'll notice that we do have some pricing deadlines coming up. So if you want to get the best value for anything that you might order at the show, please, be aware that those materials do go up in price. So Edlin will go up on July 13th, Shepherd on July 14th, low equipment rental, you want to get your order in before July 14th. Smart City Internet, you'll want to order before July 17th. And then Aramark, again, July 13th, you want to get your order in if initially in the event that you want to avoid a late processing surcharge.
It's a good point. Those are definitely some dates to jot down or throw on the calendar and make sure especially Shepherd, I think is a pretty serious increase in price for rush orders, which is anything after that date, July 14th. So that's a great point. Try and get everything that you need from them ordered in advance of that. Tim, to answer your question, you are able to set up your own booth in certain scenarios. If it's a 10 by 10 and it's a simple pop-up display, absolutely. The general rule of thumb with that is that anything that has elements of construction involved in it, the union needs to do it at this venue. That's sort of their line as far as getting involved.
Yeah.
If it's extremely, extensive build, it's definitely going to be a union thing. Your 10 by 10 pop-up, you'll be totally fine. I don't anticipate you would need any union labor for
Correct.
that.
I would not anticipate that either.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate you putting the time and effort into this show. I know, events are a big lift, and we are excited to report we're tracking nicely ahead on registration, and looking like it'll be quite a full event. And like I said, we are all here to assist you. Please call, email anytime, and we will get right back in touch with you. So thanks again, and everybody have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. Bye-bye.